Hi everyone, I'm Jacqueline D and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I am doing a series on book things because I'm someone who has read for my entire life. I love reading and I want to give a little bit of help for people who are just starting out reading or just finding out that they actually enjoy reading, because I think reading stopped being fun when it started being a little boring to us. So as someone who fell back in love with reading right after the pandemic, or actually during the pandemic, I was working from home and it was kind of hard to like just have the TV on all the time. So I started listening to audiobooks or just reading books in my spare time. Audiobooks, the accessibility of them just made it so amazing. And so here are a few things that I learned that I want to help you to learn and understand so that you can enjoy reading as much or more than I do. This video, I want to talk about tropes, because sometimes when you're watching content or you're absorbing content from people talking about books, they say like tropes this, tropes that, and everything. I really only like to read one like genre of books, and that's love story, romance, rom-com kind of books. That being said, these are tropes that I've read a lot of and that I actually enjoy a lot. There are some tropes that I just really don't like and I'm just not super into, but I want to talk about the ones that I do like. So the first one is friends to lovers. My husband and I were friends to lovers. We were friends all through college. We started dating right after I graduated, and it was just a really amazing experience to like have our relationship built on the fact that we were friends for years. I think it's really nice. So it's one of my favorite tropes. The next one is marriage of convenience. I really laugh at them because it's always something like in the billionaire romance kind of genre too, which is another trope, is billionaires. There's always some like caveat, like, oh, if you want to inherit the family business and all this money, you have to get married by the age of 32 or something. And they kind of make me laugh, and then the people end up falling in love, so it's like really cute, it's really sweet. Small town tropes I think are kind of fun, especially the like kid who grew up in the small town goes to the big city, comes back to the small town stories are kind of interesting, or the like small town, you know, main character falls in love with this big city main character. I think those are really nice. Second chance, I feel like I've read a lot because Second Chance is a lot of romance stories. The only thing about Second Chance is sometimes there's too much context given about why everything went wrong. I don't necessarily want to know every little detail, every little argument. So like Second Chance is interesting, but they are nice because it kind of gives you hope that like forgiveness is real and stuff like that. Mafia and organized crime, very interesting. This is a trope that I like because I don't know, I watched Sons of Anarchy growing up, and like it's just like a very interesting kind of like group of people to think about. Like a lot of times in the mafia and organized crime books, in my experience with the books that I've read, those characters are really humanized, and they're I don't want to say glamorized, but they're shaped into real people. And they're people who are like, you know, I have a code of honor, or we're going to give away this much money, or we're going to volunteer for this much time. And I just think it's really interesting. That kind of stuff makes you think. Fake dating is always a good one. Like people are pretending to date just so they can like get somebody to get off their back, or whatever, like make somebody jealous, but then they end up falling in love with the person. I love that. Motorcycle club, just like organized crime, it's like, all right, there's going to be drama, there's going to be suspense, a little danger. Secret Billionaire is a fun one too, because I just read a series earlier this summer. I think the Miles High Club tropes for one of the books was a secret billionaire. He was like, you know, I'm really shallow, I'm going to go off and go backpacking for a summer and, you know, go backpacking for a year and see how it goes. And he ended up falling in love. And Secret Billionaire is always interesting because they end up turning into like third act. Is that what they call it? Like third act or second act, like makeups or whatever. Where whenever the heroine finds out that, or whenever the main character finds out that the billionaire was a billionaire and it was a secret and all of this, they get really upset. If my husband came home today and said, babe, I'm really a billionaire, I just wanted to make sure you were in it for the right reasons, I would not be upset. So Secret Billionaire is an interesting trope because it's always like, oh, they're gonna argue about it and they're gonna break up, and then they're gonna be like, oh, we love each other no matter what. But it is a fun trope. The next one is rom-com. I love a good chuckle, a good key in a book. So like rom-com is similar to movies. It's gonna make you laugh. Somebody's gonna fall in love. Fated Mates is a fun one, especially for like the werewolf or like vampire kind of books. I prefer like the werewolf books as opposed to like werewolf and vampire, if that makes sense. And so for like somebody who is indigenous to know that the universe and the creator has actually made one person perfectly to fit me, I just love that. Chef's kiss. Holidays are always fun too, especially when the holidays are really happening. So like around Christmas or Thanksgiving, this like end of the year holidays. I've even read books that talk about like Kwanzaa and things like that. So I love that. I think it's really nice. It makes it a little more real. I said billionaire earlier. Celebrity and movie star. I like celebrity and movie star tropes if the celebrities and movie stars are fake celebrities and movie stars. I don't necessarily want to read about like when Wattpad was a thing. I feel like I'm aging myself a bit because I was all about Wattpad. I probably read hundreds of books on Wattpad. There were so many like celebrity books about real celebrities. So it was like August Alsina, the like members of One Direction, and that was like a huge thing. And I think it's nice you have a favorite celebrity. That's really cool. My preference as a reader though, because I think that ages your book in a really interesting way, especially if that celebrity or like famous person ends up like having like tumultuous things happen in their life or in their career. I'd rather you just make up a character like Grip in Kennedy Ryan's Grip series, or Big South in Alexandria House's series. So like if you make up a character, I like that a lot better. I just think, I don't know, personally I just like it better. Arranged marriages as a trope happens all the time. They're kind of funny. There's a book that I just read, 90 Days to Love or 60 Days to Love, something like that. Be Love, and it's basically that the two characters, it's the second chance, and I think like a millionaire billionaire, but arranged marriage where the female main character is entering an arranged marriage with someone else, but her ex comes back into her life and they kind of like are hanging out in the time being. It's a really cute book. But like I like the arranged marriages where someone's like in an arranged marriage situation and then falls in love for real, either with the person in arranged marriage or somebody else. Like it doesn't really matter to me because all of these people are fake. But it's a interesting trope. Sports tropes are really cool. Some of them are hard because they like are not making enough, because they don't make enough sense. Like, okay, you learned the rules of the game, but like just because they're a great athlete doesn't mean that if they commit a crime they are not going to get, you know, whatever. So sports is interesting, but it can be sports, I should say, could be hit or miss. Like I've read some sports tropes that are really good, like the St. Louis Sires or St. Louis Cyclones series that I really liked, or even the Hoops series. And the sports thing works really well, but then there's times when the sports thing doesn't work well, and I'm just like, oh, okay, let's finish the book. Let's get to the spice scene. Another one is Friends with Benefits. So that's one where it's like, oh, they start out as friends with benefits and then fall in love sometimes in romance novels. I like that too. I think it's nice. I don't know. And another big trope that is all the time is secret baby or pregnancy. And sometimes people do it in a way that it's like, oh, it's so precious. It's like the end of their story is they're having a child, and that's nice. And then sometimes it's like kind of forced, where it's like, I don't care. You're giving me too much information. And for it to be TMI for a character to get pregnant is kind of silly, but I don't know. So those are some tropes that I feel like are super popular, especially in the romance kind of genre. And I actually like most of these tropes. There are some tropes that I don't like. Like I don't like the age gap tropes a whole lot. Because sometimes people want the age gaps to be too much, and it's just creepy to me. It's not cool. I don't mind the like best friend's brother or best friend's sister one. I can't say I haven't read a whole lot like that. I've read a few. And they're not bad. They can be good. They can, you know, it depends. It's another one of the age gap things. Like if it's a sibling you're 3 to 5 years apart, okay, cool, no problem. It gets weird when I see like somebody's review and they talk about parents' best friend. Absolutely not. Not for me. It's just not for me. It's not my vibe. I'm trying to think if there's another one. I don't know. I really only wanted to focus on tropes that I like. So, in the comments though, or in communities, I know that's a new thing. So like, and I'm gonna work on getting there. But like, let me know what your favorite tropes are. And maybe you'll give me an idea of some tropes that I need to read or lean more into. But yeah, these are some tropes that I actually think are interesting and that I often see in books that I read. Speaking of tropes, actually, one more thing. Sometimes there can be plot holes in books. I read for like fun. I read for enjoyment. So I'm not reading to study what I'm reading so intently that I can't enjoy it, even if there's a little bit of a plot hole. An example of a plot hole could be something is mentioned in like the first 5 chapters that seems super important, and then after chapter 7 it is never brought up again. That could be kind of difficult. I have seen in a book that a character's name got changed, and I think it was more of an editing error, but it was very confusing that like we're talking about Jackie to start with, and then we start talking about Megan. Like it's confusing, and then after like context clues, I just realized that it was the same person. I'm trying to think, or like another plot hole could be if it's a book series and something's mentioned in the early on in the series, like it's super important, it's very key, it has a presence in like all of the books, and then suddenly it stops having a presence. It's interesting. Usually I, again, don't care. I am a lazy reader. I am reading so my imagination can take over my brain, and my type A personality part of my brain can take a break and not have to worry about all of the lists and the responsibilities and the tasks that I have to get done. So yeah, I don't know. Tropes and plot holes are very interesting, but if you know the trope, you kind of can have an idea of the plot, if that helps. So if you know the trope, is friends to lovers, and in the description, this friends to lovers series, blah 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 blah, there's probably going to be some reason that they break up, some type of like hitch in the plan, and that'll help you like identify the plot holes if you are like reading with a magnifying glass to like study what you're reading. I'm not, so I don't worry about that. But sometimes when people are doing like reviews and stuff, you'll see that they're talking in that way where they're like, oh, there was this plot hole and I just couldn't get past it, so I DNF'd the book. Okay, you didn't finish it, moving along. But again, I just want to be like more positive and just talk more about like my enjoyment of things, because that's just more true to who I am. So if you enjoyed this video, and if you have a favorite trope, please let me know in the comments. If it's something I haven't read yet, I'm like, and hey, give me a suggestion with your favorite trope, and then if I haven't read it yet, I might read your suggestion, and maybe I'll have a new trope to add to the list. Anyways, thank you so much for hanging out with me. If you are so inclined and you've enjoyed this video, make sure you subscribe to my channel and you hang out even more. And let me know what kind of booktube content you'd be interested in hearing. If you'd like to hear some book suggestions, if you'd like to hear about different authors that I enjoy reading, I would love to tell you all of the things about my booking, or about my reading journey and experience, reading just kind of from start to end. I remember those books as a kid that we had to like, I remember like cutting out pages in kindergarten and having to staple them together and then fold them in half and take those books home and read them to like 3 or 4 people. I hope the kids still do that now. It was actually really interesting, and I remember having to sit my family members down and read to them, and I knew they did not care about Sam and his cat, but Sam's cat did have to chase the rat, so I had to read about it. So thank you again for hanging out with me. I hope you have a great rest of the day, and I hope we'll see you back in my channel in the future. Bye!